What's that? Drum roll?
Drum roll.
Back.
What number is it?
21, maybe 22. Who knows?
That bit's not important, is it? We're back.
Nah.
Yes.
We're back.
I like the little break.
Short. Yeah.
Do you like it when you don't see us? Is that what you mean by we like the break?
Well, I like a little break, so just that little respite away from you.
To be fair, we have been
Refresh.
grafted in mind, don't we?
Oh, aye.
We've got plenty of recorded.
I mean, I said this on the bonus episode if anybody hasn't listened to it last week, but I'm going to hang my hat on. This is the best series that we've done.
Self-praise is no praise at all, Chris.
Who's first up?
Mr. Mark Clattenburg. We've got David Bentley coming after that, Kevin Nolan, Peter Odemwingie.
What a man he is, by the way.
Yeah.
I honestly can't believe he was sat in the car park for 3 hours before we started. But I wanted just to fuck him off. You know, just like, sorry Pete, it's not happening. But obviously we were there, weren't we?
Clattenburg.
No, but yeah.
Our feature in his book. One of his biggest fuck-ups. I think have we spoke about it?
Yeah, we've spoken about it before. Yeah, we start with
Middlesbrough Blackburn, so he'll tell us about it.
And we touch on the Danny Simpson stuff as well, because remember Danny Simpson said, was it Danny Drinkwater?
Yes.
Was going to get sent off, and Mark Clattenburg said, "Oh, I'd send you off, but I want you to win the league," which I always took as with a pinch of salt,
tongue-in-cheek, man.
tongue in
You know what I
cheek.
mean?
But a lot of people, I mean, there was Daily Mail, Sun articles about him being a cheat.
Mark wasn't happy, was he?
No. I think I kept my head down for that bit.
It got a bit awkward.
It's not like you.
Yeah, any sign of controversy, I just back off.
Noticed.
But it was a good ref, by the way. Yeah.
Better on Gladiators.
Yeah. I knew it.
Again, massive thanks to O'Neill's for making the series possible.
We must be fucking making them a few widows. Back again, aren't they, lads? No, we really do appreciate it.
Yeah, and as always, the link's in the description if you want to sort your team out with a kit or get the Under the Cosh shirt. Well, should we get in? First episode of the series.
Handsome man.
Thank you.
Not you, you tit.
Mark.
Mark.
Mark had a bit of work done, bless him.
You can't say that.
Scrap that bit, mate. Beautiful looking
What's
fella.
he had done? In your opinion, what do you think he's had
He's
done?
obviously definitely his setup done, hasn't he?
Mm-hmm.
I think he's had a little bit of filler here and there. But
So have you, fucking hell.
I've got a crowd, have we? Hey, playing up to the crowd, you fat little shit.
Let's get Mark in.
Clattenburg.
This will be a bit of a test for you as well, this, if you did actually write your own book. It was the 95th minute and Borough were winning 1-0. Blackburn swung a corner into the box and the ball dropped for Rudy Gested to equalise. I gave the goal. What I had missed somehow was a blatant barge by Chris Brown in the back of Borough goalkeeper Dimitri.
Yeah, one of him.
There was probably another foul on the Borough defender Ben Gibson. My position was poor, very poor.
It was. I remember that game. It was the last time I refereed at Middlesbrough, which was a nightmare because it was one of my local clubs. And I always wanted to get back quickly after a game. No, it was one of them.
Do you remember it?
Yeah.
I think I took them both out.
Did you?
Dimmy and Ben.
Was it you? No, it wasn't. Was it? You know, when you had this is like how strange refereeing is, isn't it? That you can have the best 88, 89 minutes. I remember because there was pressure on the game and I'm thinking after 80 odd minutes, the game's all right, I'm doing all right, yeah, you know, and then bang, within a flash, ball gets swung in and my positioning's like front on and I don't know what I'm looking at, but it's one of them mad moments where you're thinking, something's happened, but I don't know what. And you know, with VAR now, you think, oh God, VAR would save us, but I didn't have it. So yeah, I ended up having to stick with the decision. And when I watched, I was getting abuse coming off and I got abuse going to my car. I think people carry a gun back to judges, the hotel judges near Yarm. And the abuse I was taking, but when you watch it back, no wonder. You know, like last kick of the game, can't change the game. And I'm thinking, what was I looking at?
What are you thinking while Mark's getting all the abuse? Are you thinking...
He's going to blow in a minute. He's going to blow. I've backed in, I've give I've got my arse into Dimmy and pushed Gibson, so it's a 2-in-1. It's probably a 3-game ban, to be honest.
It's what, 3 games for me? Or you? But it was like, that was my last time I refereed Middlesbrough. But I just remember, and then everybody was like, "Yeah, Geordie bastard, you only done that because you were Geordie." And I'm thinking, well, yeah, but fucking Newcastle Middlesbrough wasn't really a derby, Newcastle Sunderland was, and I never did Sunderland. But I was allowed to referee Middlesbrough, and that was the only time I'd refereed Middlesbrough a few times and nothing had happened. But I was just like one of them crappy moments in your career where I've had plenty where you just didn't see it right. And, maybe switch off because you think it's the last minute of the game and referees can't switch off, and I didn't see it. Like, probably I should have known. Now you look at goalkeepers and you analyse. I was probably a younger referee then as well. You start analysing things differently, and you start realising players' tactics, what players are wanting to do. And that's when I started getting better and better as a referee because I started understanding what players were trying to do before they did it. So when they did it, I was already aware, and that's something I learned. But you know what? People, when you make mistakes, it's like life, isn't it? When you make mistakes, you learn from them.
So you'd actively look at how different players played, and I think Kevin Davis maybe comes to mind. He always used to stick the arse out.
I used to get abuse off him as well. I remember being in Marbella, and I was in Lineker's, and he was in, and he was still giving us fucking abuse there.
And he got his arse back.
But I remember, the thing is, sometimes you can be supported by cameras, and I remember there was one I gave a foul against him at Bolton late in the game. Same thing, he backed in. He definitely fouled him because I'm watching. But the camera, and it wasn't like it is now where they've got 16 different cameras. Ball gets swung in, takes the defender out, gets a free header, he scores, and I've given a free kick. And I'm the only one in the ground that sees it. But the camera doesn't because the camera's focused on the ball coming in, and it doesn't look like there's a foul. But I'm convinced there was a foul and he still doesn't believe it yet, and the abuse you take for it.
I've heard you speak about it, but I just think after the final whistle, when the cameraman comes over and he's just got it pointing at you, are you thinking, I've done something?
That happened at my very first game at Old Trafford. So I'm at Old Trafford against Tottenham, and it wasn't difficult at that point. The referee, it was normal. There was nothing big in the game, and then Mendes hit one from the halfway line, and the rest's history. Roy Carroll pulls it back. I'm on the halfway line. There's absolutely, I'll defy any human being in my position where I should be anyways, because I'm on the halfway line where I should be, to see that ball's completely 100% in. And I remember when Roy Carroll pulls it back, the game continues because the assistant wasn't in a position to see it. And I think was it Martin Yol was the manager of Tottenham. He was going ballistic. So that was Mark Halsey was my fourth official. He was trying to restrain him. And I thought, whoa, that must be close. And then the game went on for about another 3-4 minutes. And I blew for full time. And the Steadicam come on from Sky. Like, I'm thinking, oh, God, right up to my face. And I'm thinking to myself, I might not be the brightest Geordie in the world, but I went, I'm either man of the match or I fucked up. And very rare referees are man of the match, so I've definitely fucked up. Yeah, so that was that moment where you've got the camera right in your face and then you're trying to... Everybody remembers and blames me, but what could I do different? It's one of them bizarre moments in football where, referees get the blame, like we're talking about Middlesbrough. Blackburn, where I am at fault, because I should be in a better position, but I can't be in a better position. Where can I be? On the goal line. I can't be.
I'm actually going to help you out here with. It's the first time I've ever backed a referee up because I used to fucking hate you, I'll be honest with you, right? But you're in a bad position, which is the mistake. But then you can't guess, can you? You've not seen fucking Bowser here running through goalkeeper and sending out. So you've missed the situation. You can't guess.
Yeah. No, you can't guess. But you can see some things develop. Like you might not see the full push, but you can see the push and then the goalkeeper's on the floor. Like, for example, if a goalkeeper's going up to get the ball and you think, well, that's going to be a safe catch from the goalkeeper. A top-level goalkeeper isn't going to be on the ground, is he? So something's happened. Players start looking at you. That's another telltale sign because immediately you've probably done it. You'll have looked at me thinking, God, have I got away with that?
Did he? Fuck. He wheeled up like he'd scored.
Now I'm looking going, when players look at me, you're thinking, yeah, you've done something. So, the art of refereeing was, everybody says about the laws of the game, and it was positioning. And you can be even in the perfect position, but too close, and you don't see the full, like for example, the full challenge. And you know what? The game is so fast. It was interesting watching the Club World Cup that we're watching, or we're seeing now, and the body cams the referees are wearing. And was it Lewis, the Man City fullback, got sent off recently, and you can see the body cam of the referee and the challenge, and you're thinking, wow, that's amazing. That's what the referee's seeing.
Yeah.
The world's seeing it. Where if, for example, I remember refereeing the Merseyside derby and missing the Carragher challenge, and I just don't understand why I was getting abused, going off, thinking, what's happened there? Because I don't see it, because the players ran across, as the still it players in me block me view, so I don't see it. But if I had that body cam on, for example, people would see what I've seen.
Your perspective.
And think, fucking hell, there was a player in front of us. Not that I'm incompetent or I'm a cheat. I just didn't see it.
Is the support from the FA as you're developing in your career to the top flight? Like, do you go through, I want to use the term, mental toughness courses, how to deal with when you get in the stick? Or is it just, you've got to be a certain type of character to be a referee?
Yeah, I think you've got to be a different character, I think. It's interesting that when I was a referee, the profession was quite, from what your industry was, I was an electrician, so I was slightly different. But most of the guys were policemen or school teachers. That says that their style of job was management, how to manage people, conflict, which helps when you're a referee, of course, because you've got to manage people, you've got to conflict manage, you've got to deal with a lot of stuff. Me being an electrician was completely different, but players related to me because I was like a working class guy, never looked down at players, I treat every player the same. So players related to me probably better than they would a policeman or a school teacher because they were quite dictatorial a bit. So when I was going through the systems, you got assessed, but minimal. You got assessed, you got watched, of course. But when you got to the top level, the Premier League, you were then under the PGMOL, which was the governing body of referees. So what the hardest bit then was, in the transition, was you leave your profession and then you go into a professional referee, and that's the hardest bit. It's not, everybody says to me, I want to be a professional referee. It's a really scary moment in your life because you're giving up your career. If you're an electrician, I think when I left the Premier League in 2017, I think there was 3 or 4 different editions from when I was a Sparky. So I would have to retrain completely to be back in the industry. But if you lose your job, for example, Dave Coote recently, it's a huge moment of his life where he's give up his career to be a referee, and now he's lost his career. What does he do now? I know he's delivering boxes.
Yeah, he's on Amazon, isn't he, or something?
But it's tough for him because you can't, everybody thinks referees are protected species. They've got massive houses, massive cars. They're just working class people, but they haven't got really a career afterwards. So yeah, you've got certain support, but I had mental strength that when I made a mistake, I watch my games back, try and find why I made the mistakes, try and not do it the following week. And try to be a better person. And I used to get a lot of feedback, and I appreciated feedback. Players used to come up to me and, I like your refereeing. I like how you deal with us. So I think, well, if players like that, then I'm better off keeping that, and in the end, I can make a mistake on the field, but players accepted it.
Yeah.
Probably because I refereed the biggest games in the world, Champions League. That helped because players used to think, fucking hell, he's refereed Champions League, he must be good. Not really. It's just I tried to get as much right as I could. But players, coaches, clubs seemed to like my style of refereeing, where I'd give players a chance. I tried to play lots of advantage. I wanted the game to be the best it could be. It's not my responsibility. However, I try to help the game as much as I could to make it, like, for example, people say, well, yeah, it's not your job, but why Arsenal, for example, when I used to referee Arsenal, Arsene Wenger probably liked my style. Many times I refereed Arsenal, they would score advantage goals, all because I was trying to keep the game flowing in a way that Arsenal could try and open a team up. So it's not just the laws of the game. You're trying to, and when you had that style, so when you had that style of refereeing, clubs liked you because they thought you could understood the game as well. It's not just understand the laws of the game. It's about understanding the game.
But then I suppose some clubs would dislike it as well if you Stoke going to Arsenal.
Yeah.
Can't please everybody, can you?
No.
No, but
Someone's going to be pissed off.
you could, exactly. I remember refereeing Bolton and Sam was upset. But at the end of the day, when he analysed it back, I'm only doing my job. I'm only playing the advantage. Or I'm taking risks, knowing that Arsenal have the skill sets. Because I had some great players at the time, people like Fabregas. He would just see a little pass and then they were in, and then sometimes they missed. But why give a free kick on the halfway line when the other team just want to stop the game? And if you can keep it going, and you get an advantage goal, that's the best feeling in the world as a ref. I know Mike Dean celebrated his goal. But it's a great feeling. It is for a ref. You know what I mean? Like, the player scores a goal. People said, like, as a ref, what's the best feeling? When you play an advantage in the score. I remember the goal, the famous goal at Adebayor at Man City Arsenal. And he ran the full length. Yeah. If you go back to that goal, it was a foul. The assistant flags for a foul, and it was on the wing. And I just said, no, play on. And he crosses it, bang, straight onto Adebayor's head. Yeah, he scored the header. But if I hadn't played the advantage, Adebayor wouldn't have scored. Yeah. And fucking the feeling inside you feel like $1 million. Because you're thinking, I've done something positive. Not everybody thinks you've done things negative, but it's actually a positive impact on the game.
But you can't show that emotion, though, can you?
Inside you do, but Mike Dean was giving it.
Matt went a bit too far, didn't he?
He ran off, didn't he? Give it the
So pull his shirt up and put his shirt over your head.
Me and him played with a lad played under. He was a coach at Preston, and before every game, he'd make a point of saying, "The referee today is Mark Clattenburg. Call him Mark. Introduce yourself. Be nice to him."
Half like his ass.
Yeah, but who was the ones that used to do that? Who buttered you up before a game?
I tell you, and it worked. I'm not saying it butters you up, right? If you look at like how players were, if you look at people, and I've had many run-ins. Craig Bellamy. If Craig Bellamy abuses, the natural reaction, the human reaction, is to protect yourself. So straight away, you think he's getting nothing. Like, he's abusing you. He's like foul-mouthed. In the end, you probably get so pissed off, you give him a yellow card for dissent. So his next incident could end up with a red card. But then you had people like the late Gary Speed. Gary Speed, I speak to ex-players and they say he was a really dirty player. But as a ref, he used to come, always make a point, call you Mark, have a good game. At the end of the game, he probably doesn't think it, but he can't influence the after. And this is where Sir Alex Ferguson was very clever. You can't influence before. You can only influence the future. So even, for example, Gary Speed, by saying, Mark, well done today, great game. In my head, I'm thinking, oh, Gary Speed's a nice guy. So probably when certain things are happening in the match, and I've got a situation which is black and white, it's one of them grey areas I'm talking about where he probably left the foot in and he'd probably go, I'll give him the benefit of the doubt because he's such a nice guy. Vincent Kompany was always good with me. Not that I ever give him much benefit of the doubt because he always got caution, but there were clear cautions. So clubs, I've always said to clubs, even when people say to me, what can I do with referees? You can't pay them. You can't influence them. So the other thing you can do is what you call reverse psychology. Just make them feel... Even when I went abroad, I remember Barcelona, for example, always in your dressing room after the match was because they were sponsored by who does Galaxy? Samsung? Or maybe been Samsung. There was an iPad, like one of them little tablets waiting for you, a shirt and little things. Bayern Munich would give you a Mont Blanc pen and bits of goodies, and so certain clubs used to give you the goodies, and in your head,
it is
but it's peanuts. You were allowed to take it because it was under a certain value, but it was certain things. I've had games
subconsciously playing into it's human nature, isn't it?
If you remember, Kevin Lynch spoke about it, didn't he?
Yeah.
I think his might have gone over the...
But then I remember because I was just coming through with Kev, and because Kev was on the Football League when I was, and when you went abroad, then you didn't get a salary. There was a big difference then. So I remember going when my first few times as a fourth official, as a young fourth official, they would take you to a suit shop, and they would try and measure you up for a suit because they didn't pay you, but they wanted you to feel special. They wanted to give you everything they had, but now, because you got a salary, clubs were like, you're getting a salary, and also, UEFA didn't want you to be influenced, or they wanted you to be impartial, and they wanted other clubs not to feel that they feel that because the home team, they're getting any benefits, you know, like, 'cause, for example, Real Madrid used to give you the best hotel and I used to get the fucking best room ever.
Did anybody go like overstep the mark where they've basically tried to bribe you?
I had a situation, and it was Azerbaijan. It was offering a female, and after the match, and it was like crazy, man. And
Have you got to report that?
No, it was just I laughed it off. I went dumb and stupid.
If they're reporting it, I'm in bother.
No, it wasn't. I don't know if it was a jest. You don't know what's like. I didn't know if it was a joke or whatever. But I just said, no, it's okay. I'm okay, thanks, and just left it at that. You know, you just laughed it off because you don't know if it's serious or they're just trying you on.
Yeah.
Or whatever. So there was nothing to report because there was nothing really to.
Did you get to see her first though?
No.
Or was it? It's that female.
Okay then.
No, I'm all right. She's got a sister.
She'll be able to send off.
We're talking about little things like I told you a story. It was like how things can be. I can say something and things can happen. And it was my son, and he was only like he was under 10. So, you know, as boys are, and it was a Friday. I picked him up from school. He would spend a few hours with us before I travelled to the hotel. And we're just playing football. And he said, Dad, who are you refereeing tomorrow? I says, Bolton Watford. It was when Watford win the Premier League and Bolton win the Premier League. He says, we're just taking penalties. And he says, what will the score be? I says, Bolton will win 1-0 with a late penalty. Just as a joke, you know, as your son, you're having a bit of banter, you know. And I never thought anything of it. And I didn't even remember what I'd said, you know what I mean? Only till I picked him up on the Sunday and all the parents are out the houses saying, your son had been telling everybody in the street that Bolton were going to win 1-0 with a late penalty, and that's what happened. The penalty was straightforward. It was clear penalty. But how bizarre, one word, just as a bit of banter, got turned and everybody thought, Mamma mia. Because Nathan was telling everyone, my dad said, Bolton are going to win 1-0. And I didn't think anything of it, but then it made us realise, wow, I had to be careful what I said.
Do you ever find that just exhausting? The fact that you've got to dilute your character
Your life,
so much,
really.
your life.
Mm-hmm.
People don't see that. People don't see. Everybody sees you as the referee. Everybody sees you as the person that spoils everybody's fun. But they don't see, for example, you go on holiday. You get abused sometimes on holiday. Sometimes you don't, you're not always, but you get some people who'll abuse you. And you've gone through different friendships, friends that you probably had for years, but you're not friends with anymore. Because look, like for example, Dave Coote, what he's gone through, and somebody of his friendship group has decided to leak that video, they're not friends. But if he had really good friends, that video still wouldn't be out now. But unfortunately, the way we are now and the way things are, it's so difficult. And I've been lucky in me really important years as a referee. I had really good friends that got me out of situations, maybe alcohol situations or situations where it was getting volatile. I remember having problems in Cheltenham races once, where a Chelsea fan was all right at first till he had a few sherbets, and then he started throwing food against me head, which in the end, my friends stepped in, but they made sure I wasn't anywhere to, you know, I was out the way because they wanted to protect me and what could happen, especially with mobile phones now, you know, you're in a situation and somebody can take a video and you could be seen to be doing something and it can have an adverse effect on your career.
It can just be you having an opinion on it, because we've all got opinions on
Wait,
managers
look at
and
Jurgen
players.
Klopp, yeah.
If that's on film, you're in bother.
Wait.
You know.
With the Jurgen Klopp, and I've said this, I think it's absolute nonsense. Like, it's absolute rubbish. Like, if a referee has an opinion, it doesn't say that are we talking now? Are we saying that English referees are corrupt by thinking that he's got a problem with Liverpool? No, it's just his honest opinion that he doesn't like Jurgen Klopp. I didn't like Jurgen Klopp. I thought he was strange. Doesn't say he was a bad manager. He was an incredibly good manager. An incredibly good manager. I found him very strange, the way he was to me. Well, like, just for example, I remember always end of January, UEFA used to call all the referees together before the Champions League group stage. And there was one, I think it might have been 2015. And Richard Scudamore, who was the head of Premier League, and the Pigeon World had stepped in because if all the UEFA referees were going away, they'd lost all the top referees. And normally when that happened, the younger referees couldn't deal with the big games. And it meant they were under strength. So what they said was, look, we want Mark Clattenburg to stay at home, but we need the approval of UEFA. UEFA said, yeah, we'll give you the approval. Mark will not travel to the course. However, you'll have to do the fitness test later on, blah, blah, blah. I was pissed off. I'm thinking, I want to get the fitness test done now, so I'm going to come back to Geneva in a couple of weeks' time. But by the by, I get appointed to Liverpool-Chelsea. And I turn up at the game, and it was the Porter cabin, so it was before Liverpool's dressing rooms had been finished. And Jurgen Klopp never, ever, ever came in with the team sheets. Never came in with the team sheets. They knock at the door with the team sheets, and the captains come in, which was John Terry and Jordan Henderson, and it was Gary from Chelsea. He was like a guy who like did the admin side of Chelsea, and Jurgen Klopp came in, and I thought to myself, this is bizarre, this. And he just stared at us for 30 seconds, but like what you're doing to me now. Just stared at us for 30 seconds, never said a word. I never said a word. And after 30 seconds, I got a bit bored, and I just said to John Terry and Jordan, I'd see you out there. And he just stared at us, and I was like, what a strange bloke. And like, I and I said this recently, I had a run in with him when he was at Dortmund. And, like this is how people criticize, but what can I say in this situation? It was Marcelo, he was a player for Real Madrid. And I came outside my dressing room, and he just said, oh, can I have a picture? Which I would, like, people, it's fine. And he probably, I've had players asking for my shirt. And this player just wanted a photo, and he got his photo, and his girlfriend, I think it was his wife or whatever, was next, and they came inside the photo. And as the photo was getting done, unfortunately, Jurgen Klopp, who was the Dortmund manager, was walking past. And he turned around and he said, oh, that's why we got beat. And
how was your timing?
Me being me, I turned around and I said, that's why you got beat fucking 3-0, so fuck off. But that was me being, because I was furious thinking, what is he fucking trying to imply? I didn't fucking get beat 3-0.
You didn't ask for the photo either.
And I didn't ask for the photo. And this is the concept. Like, I remember a story about shirts. The two stories that come to my mind about shirts. And that's how you got to be careful. And never ask for shirts. Never. Why? Because you're leaving yourself open to problems. And I remember Casemiro. So Casemiro was a young footballer playing for Brazil in 2011. And I was in Colombia refereeing the Under 20 World Cup. And I refereed the semi-final, Brazil-Mexico. And the game was brilliant. I managed the game perfect. I could have sent a Mexican player off in the last minute, but they were 2-0 down. He's out the tournament. They're out the tournament anyways. And the coach was standing right next to him. He could speak a bit of English, and I just grabbed the guy's shirt. And I pushed him to the coach, and when coach sorted him out, and the coach said something in Mexican, boy, he was like, I'm sorry. And that was my management, because what was the point sending him off in the last minute when they're getting beat 2-0? I'm only going to lose by upsetting, thinking, he's not a bad referee, but... Yeah. So I managed it, and everybody was happy, thank God, because the next day I get a flight back to Bogota, and the Mexican team were on the same flight as me, but I was lucky enough because I liked this, you know what I mean? But that situation helped. But Casemiro, I remember Casemiro, he didn't speak any English, but he always like smiled with his, and he signed for Real Madrid. And I don't know if it was his debut, but he hadn't played many games, and he came off the bench, and he just comes running over. He comes running on the pitch. He comes running up to us, and he shakes my hand. And I'm thinking, fucking hell, this is bizarre. And after the match, not a word said. He's waiting for us outside my dressing room door. And there was his shirt. He had his shirt for us, and I couldn't say no, but he was wanting to give me his shirt, his match shirt, because he remember I never asked for it. He just like, there you go, there's me shirt. And I thought, that was a nice moment. And then there was another side of it. I remember I just refereed the Champions League final. And one of the stories was, it was funny because Pierluigi Collina was my boss of head of UEFA. And I remember being before the Champions League final, we all had to get together in a garden before we travelled to the stadium. And Pierluigi Collina had his daughter who had been in London, so she could speak good English. And he says, my daughter's over there. So I went over to see his daughter and say hello and that. And I came back to Pierluigi Collina, and I had a great relationship with Pierluigi. So I said to him, clearly your daughter's looks is from the mother. And Collina just went, No problem, Mark. He said, you'll go to Belarus, match day 1 of Champions League.
Have that.
Right, so I fucking laughed. Never thought nothing. Guess where I went match day 1? Fucking Bate Borisov.
I like him.
But then I went to Bulgaria. So that I'd just done the finals. Everybody like they see you in a different world. So I went to Bulgaria and you become like not a superstar, but people see you more. Do you know what I mean? They want more photos. People like they want more a little bit. So I remember it was match day 1 and it was it might have been a playoff game. Yeah, it was a playoff game. And the captain of the home team says, Mark, he said, I want your shirt. I said, I can't. He said, why? I said, I've only got one shirt, one colour of each shirt. He went, what do you mean? You don't have a new shirt for every match? I went, I'm not like you. We only get like a handful of shirts at the start of the season. But I said, okay, I'll give you my shirt because he was pestering us. And I said, oh, you can have my shirt, you know. And so we're during the game and they were winning 1-0. And I think I give a decision against his team. And it wasn't controversial, but it was like a decision, you know. And I give the decision and he comes running at us, this captain, like veins coming out of his neck. And I looked at him and he went, he was like shouting and screaming. I went, and he just went, boop, and walked away. And because he wanted me shirt, and I'm thinking, if you fucking speak to me later one more time, you're not getting me back shirt. And guess what he was? After the match, he was waiting for me shirt. He was that desperate for me shirt. Yeah, because I'd refereed the Champions League final. He wanted me shirt, you know. And you know what? If I say no, I'm a twat.
Yeah, can't win.
Of course, you're managing players, and he'll think, God, he's a nice guy. He's a good ref, or you know what I mean. It helps in your character building.
One of the things, I think all players hated with the ref was they always some of them felt they were above you. You know, when they pull you over and you try and speak to them and they give you one of them. One of the worst was a fella in the northeast, talking to policemen.
I remember that fucker.
Tash.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Was that Alan Wilk? No.
Miller.
Nigel Miller, yeah.
Just even he's from my neck of the woods, but he used to give it that one and go away.
I hate that.
I
hated that. How was that to you then? How did you find it?
Spot on, huh?
Yeah.
I'm going to say that though, aren't I?
No.
You let him off with
you get me invoices. I always used to listen because I always wanted to be better person. Do you know what I mean? It wasn't just about refereeing. You're a character. You're trying to be a human being and be as best you can be. Yeah, you want to make the right decisions, but you also want to be accepted. You know, like you don't want to walk on the field of play and you've got 22 people think you're an arsehole.
Mm-hmm.
Are you fucked?
Exactly.
They're going to fight with you. You
did let him off with GBH, man.
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
Do you think that's two different mindsets, though? Like you said, so some of us just want to be loved and accepted and manage the game that way, where others may take a different approach and just be above everything else. And like you said, go away. I'm running the show here.
But they don't last long.
It shouldn't be like that.
They don't last long because what you've got to remember as well is you've got to also manage. You've got to find, you know, people. You'll always get criticised now because everybody has got an opinion. Social media destroys everything, but you've got to also manage the event. You've also got to manage a lot of things that are going to happen. You know, late kickoffs. Yeah, I've had a situation in a Euro Championship where you know the game's going to get suspended. You don't know what point, but they're going to throw fireworks at the goalkeeper. You've got all these things that are going on in your head, but everybody thinks, you know what, you got that free kick wrong because they've all got an opinion, but they've never tried what it's actually like. A, it's your livelihood, and B, you're trying to make everybody as happy as possible, but you can't. It's impossible to keep everybody happy, but the most important thing is keep yourself happy, and B, get as many people on side buying into your decisions or your personality. Because if you hated me, the moment you hate me on the field, I'm fighting with you, I'm battling with you, and I need you on my side. If I get 22 players on my side, my job becomes a little bit easier.
He could be the worst ref in the world, but if you're speaking before the game, he's reffing today. I sound him, innit?
Yeah.
Nothing to do with his refereeing ability. It's just you can have a bit of crack with you. And on that, did you ever get into trouble for so-called crack with players and where you thought they've said something to you, you've had a bit of crack back?
We're going to Danny. You had Danny Simpson on this podcast, didn't you?
Yeah.
And I can address it now because I wasn't happy because Danny made a comment, and we can say it in humour. We always do, you know, but say it in humour. You know, because I've met Danny many times in Dubai, for example, at the horse racing at the Dubai World Cup. And we've had a beer, we've had a laugh. And I think when things cross a line, we can have banter. I think every football fan in the world wanted Leicester to win the title. Every football fan wanted Leicester to win the title. As a human being, the romance of Leicester winning the title was amazing. As a human being, not as a referee, as a human being. But to actually say that I was going to caution, I think it was Danny Drinkwater, who I hadn't even cautioned earlier in the game, was like crazy, you know what I mean? Because if he's factually correct, and I had cautioned Danny Drinkwater and I'd give him a second chance, and I hadn't sent him off, then fair enough, you can make that argument. But I actually hadn't even cautioned. I think I'd only cautioned 2 Leicester players that whole season. Because you know what? I found the Leicester boys really good crack. And going back to human, because they were so good guys, they probably got away with it a little bit because the fine margins, because they were good boys, you know what I mean? But I never gone round and say, well, you know what? I'm not cautioning you because I want you to win the title. Because you know what? I lose respect. If you deserve a second yellow, you go.
But I think if Harry explained it did happen, I think that's still sound what you said.
No, but it's a bit of banter. But that banter for us, right? And this is where professional footballers, they've got thousands of followers. They're loved by a lot of people. Refereeing's not. You know, we are human beings getting destroyed from all angles. And I remember going up to get me medal at the FA Cup final. I didn't even want to go and get me medal. Because I'm up one side, I'm getting abused by Man United fans. Coming down, I'm getting abused by Crystal Palace fans. So why am I putting myself in that environment? Because it doesn't matter what I do, I'm hated.
Yeah.
I sent Chris Smalling off. Crystal Palace fans are still upset because I didn't play an advantage. But if I'd played the advantage, we don't know if he would have scored because everybody had stopped. But I wouldn't have coached Chris Smalling. Chris Smalling got sent off at 1-1. You should go on and win the game.
Yeah.
But I'm still to blame.
It takes some doing that, mate, to get booed by both sets of fans.
Yeah.
But then, you know
It's
what?
a special kind of
But that was hard. It was hard.
You're playing at home for Blackburn.
But imagine going to get your medal at one of your biggest days of your life. You've got your family up in the stand and you're getting absolutely castrated by all sides of the stadium. And you're just going to get your medal and you're trying your best on the pitch. The feeling affected me for days because you feel like, I knew I hadn't performed like to the best because I love playing advantage, and probably in the FA Cup final, first few minutes, I wanted a bit like a player. You want to get a feel on the ball. I wanted to get a feel of the game, and I've seen a foul. I didn't see that I could try and play an advantage.
Does that play on your mind? Sorry, Mark. Does that play on, if you early doors? Yeah.
Not like
you think
Wembley. Wembley, it's different because I had a conversation with a couple of players and I wanted to know what it was like for players to play at Wembley, and I used to find it really tough. I used to think I was going to cramp every 2 minutes. It didn't matter. I never changed me routine. Never changed anything. But I felt like I couldn't run. I felt like my legs were like lead weights. And it didn't matter what I did. I felt I was going to cramp after 1 minute. So like you're going into this game at Wembley and you feel like you want to get into the game, you know? It's like, not that you can touch the ball, but you want to get that first free kick out. You want to get not that you want to blow you know what I mean? It's just one of them where I saw the free kick and it's a clear free kick. I didn't get the free kick wrong and I've just blown. It was an easy free kick to give, but I didn't see
You've gone against what you were saying earlier.
I probably had tunnel vision where if it happened 10 minutes later, 20 minutes later, I probably would have tried to play the advantage. It's just one of them moments where I got sucked into the occasion. But fans don't let you have that. Yeah. They just think, you've made a decision, you've cost Crystal Palace the cup. No, I didn't cost Crystal Palace the cup. Let's get that right. You know, at the end of the day, Alan Pardew has an effect. The players have an effect. What about the player that didn't pick up the player for the equalising goal? What about him dropping, the coach dropping a player? What about other things? There's a lot of other factors in the game, but the fans automatically hit the referee.
We've got a brand new message from NordVPN.
And I know what everybody's thinking. Did the lads make it home from Benidorm okay? Yes, they did.
Oh, yeah.
A few injured soldiers, but they all made it home.
Yeah, and Stickleborg stayed up this season. It was because we've been keeping up with it, haven't we? Thanks to our NordVPN. Bouncing our location over to Denmark. Are they from Denmark?
Yeah, they're that way.
Yeah,
We'll go with Denmark.
Yeah, we'll go with Denmark. Because if you don't know what NordVPN is, you can bounce your location to anywhere in the world, can't you? And keep up with your sports, your TV shows. Maybe you want to buy something, get it a bit cheaper if you're somewhere else in the world. Flights
is a good one.
Yeah.
I did watch Yannick Sinner versus Dimitrov in the Algarve last week. The main thing was within 45 seconds I was on VPN. Job
No
done.
messing about. And you didn't even need to worry about anybody in the hotel or anywhere in the local vicinity hacking into your accounts because you're on a public Wi-Fi. Because the security, absolutely top notch, like Fort Knox.
Like the lads at top of the wall on Game of Thrones.
It's a big wall, isn't it? That's what NordVPN is.
Exactly.
A massive wall that hackers can't get up. And even if you do, there's a big, meaty, horrible thing saying, "Oh, get back down."
I think he leads with a headbutt.
Yeah, bosh.
The final boss.
Are you referring
Yeah.
to me then at top of the wall, by the way?
No, that's
Global wearing.
that's the NordVPN monster. And do you want to ask me?
Please, have they got a discount?
Of course, we've got a discount. All you've got to do is follow the link in the description and you get a heavy, heavy discount and a 30-day money-back guarantee.
Big boss. Bosh.
Get off my wall.
Was there ever a point that it got too much? Was there ever a time within your career that you thought, I'm done here?
Yeah, massive. Probably that Obi Mikel situation. I didn't want to come back. I wanted to finish refereeing after that because it was absolute disgrace what happened from all sides. But as a human being, you've got a family, and I had a child. I've got a mortgage. If I'd left, what could I do? I didn't have, I wasn't earning 10 grand a week, 15 grand a week. I was, just over 100 grand a week when I was a referee in the Premier League. Yeah, which was a good salary. Yeah, which was a good salary. But that was my career, short career. So I've got to earn as much as I can in my short career.
It's a bit like the footballer thing, isn't it? You're probably going to be.
But I didn't have anywhere to go. I didn't want to come back.
What
I wanted
happened,
to
Mark?
quit.
What happened with Obi Mikel?
Where I was accused of being a racist to him. I was supposed to call him a monkey. And it was after the match Chelsea-Man United. And took around about a month of investigation by the FA. Chelsea made an allegation that the first allegation was I was supposed to have called Obi Mikel a monkey, and then I was supposed to call Juan Mata a Spanish twat, which they dropped that. But then they kept with the moment of Obi Mikel. And it was interesting because for the first few days I was like, I couldn't eat, drink or anything because I'm thinking, have I done it? You go through that
Questioning yourself.
And then I watched the game back and I was watching it back and I'm thinking, when could it be? Because you would see a reaction surely. If I said something to you that you weren't happy with, you would react. Of course you would. Maybe a gesture, maybe something. And I couldn't see a gesture by anybody. And then I think it was about 3 weeks later. That's how bad it was, Chelsea. 3 weeks later, they give us the moment. It was interesting that there was a break in the footage, the Sky footage, when they used the moment. So Van Persie had shot over the bar. And what you do see when they bring the camera back was Obi Mikel in the distance with me. And they used that. That was the moment. And lucky enough, the FA were clever and used the cameras that they use for the pitch monitoring if a fan runs on the pitch for arrest. So the FA asked for the cameras. Chelsea reluctantly give them the cameras, and the moment that I was supposed to have said it, I think it was Ramirez was the one that was alleged to have heard it on behalf of Obi Mikel. Ramirez had his back turned to us, and Ashley Cole and Wayne Rooney were right next to us. And both players got investigated and interviewed, and both players said, I never heard anything. So
Could have ruined you, that, couldn't it?
But it was like hard coming back. I remember going to Southampton, I was going back about being booed and stuff, and I remember coming back on the Wednesday night at Southampton, Tuesday, Wednesday night. I was fourth official at Tottenham. And then
that's what we're at. Do you know in this 3 week period,
4 weeks.
did they take you out of the line of fire?
Yeah, I never had a game, which affected my bonus and my salaries, of course. But to be fair, they said, do you want to referee? How could I referee? I was in bits. I was like mentally gone. But they had press, like people think it was interesting because Bruce Booker was the chairman of Chelsea at the time. He came to, because we're gonna as a group of referees, we're going to strike. We threatened to strike because we felt that the behaviour of the football club wasn't correct, and the Premier League were involved because it was a stakeholder. You know, we're both, Premier League was in the middle of this situation, Chelsea and me, the refereeing. And Bruce Buck came to St. George's. And I remember him sitting there and he came in the room and he tried to shake my hand. I didn't want to shake his hand. I had no respect for them. You know, I had no respect for him as an individual because they could have handled it differently. They could have done everything behind closed doors. And if I'm guilty, I'm guilty. I get sacked and then reveal it. But to leave us out high and dry with media outside my house every day of the week and be accused of something I hadn't done was tough. And he turned around and the referee said, I can't remember who was the spokesman. Or somebody said it and went, you know what, it wasn't right what you've done. And he turned around, he said, what's the problem? He says, we're duty bound to report it. He said, it doesn't matter anyways. He says, you live in a gated community. And we all looked at each other and fucking what world does he live in? A gated community. We're not fucking football players, man.
Could you turn to anybody at that point? You know, I know you mentioned like Kalina, you were really close to.
Nobody, everybody went quiet because everybody thinks you're guilty.
Yeah.
Immediately everybody
I think
thinks
the
you're
thing
guilty.
with that is as well as you're guilty until proven innocent.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Most
always.
have been innocent until proven guilty with that sort of stuff.
Yeah, I remember ex-referees coming out saying, well, if he's guilty, he should be sacked. I'm like, and it's all played out. But the worst thing is you're not allowed to speak in part.
So you've got to stay
brief the
quiet.
media because the media is working with the Premier League. You couldn't trust media. I couldn't trust a journalist, for example, to push things out. Now, in a different world, now that I've finished, I know the power of how media can work and how they can get it out and support you. But at the end of the day, the media was working for the Premier League, they're working for Chelsea. You couldn't trust anybody. But in the end, after about a week or so, the journalists, one by one, were like, they knew what was going on, they knew what was happening, and they knew that how it was going to play out. But unfortunately, we had to follow everything.
And who was it Mike Riley? Were he the chairman of the PGM?
Yeah.
MOL, whatever it is.
I didn't drink too much Peroni and say that.
To be honest, PGM, I don't even know what it is.
Professional Games Match Official Limited. That was
I always struggle with that. But, how were he?
quiet at first.
So is he distancing himself from it all?
Yeah, I mean, not distance, but everybody's like, till the finding, like I remember the first couple of days they were getting people to lip readers on the Sky footage. They also interviewed the two. That was what was bizarre. And I've got no problem with it. I told you before we start this podcast about my time in China. I haven't got a problem with cameras being everywhere. My audio's being recorded. UEFA used to record your audios, which was great. Because if you're going to get accused, go and listen to the audio.
Yeah.
And then it can be dealt with in seconds. But PGM World, probably because of data protection or whatever law we have, probably we didn't have it recorded. And therefore, it's our word against theirs. So then they interviewed the fourth official, the two assistants, and all of them said, I never heard Mark say, and I'm guarantee refereeing the way the refereeing world is, they would have put us under the bus if I'd done it. They would have said, oh yeah, Mark said it. But not one of them said, I'd said it. So then I felt, okay, then that's one step forward. You still doubt yourself, but then Chelsea are so adamant, and they're briefing all the media that I've done it, but they couldn't tell us the moment. And that's when the media started to turn, going, well, if you can't tell us the moment of the game, something's not right.
Do you think Chelsea were at the point where, Chelsea were at the point where they've got to back their player? So we'll just keep
I doubt. I can speak now. I don't believe it had anything to do with that. I think it was a payback. I honestly do. I think it was a payback for John Terry and Anton Ferdinand, QPR Chelsea, when John was accused of saying some words to Anton, and the balance of probability is different with the FA to the court, the law, the English law. So English law is it's beyond all reasonable doubt, where the FA has a beyond was a possibility. So had John Terry possibly said it, so they charged him and he was found guilty. So it's like a lesser charge. So he was charged, and I feel that was a payback to try and get at the refereeing, because it was a controversial game. I'd give a goal, the assistant didn't give an offside, and the third goal was controversial. Also, I'd sent off Fernando Torres for a dive, which after already sending another Chelsea player off early in the match, probably wasn't the most clever decision to make. But I'm talking about black and white decision. It wasn't. I could have played on. I didn't have to give a yellow card for simulation to reduce them to 9 men. I could have just played on because it wasn't such a blatant dive. I think Sky showed he might have got a little touch on his toenail. But the clever decision would have been to play on. So I'm probably guilty of enhancing the tension. But the goal was an assistant referee's judgment. I can't give it. He's made the judgment call, and they were probably upset at the result. It was a volatile game, and I just felt like they went bang. I'm after the head. I'm after the referee, because I didn't know I'd been accused of anything, and I'm talking probably 45 minutes to an hour after the match. I'm walking through Heathrow Airport, and it's on my phone. Breaking news. How can that happen? I've left the stadium. Only
the first you saw of it?
Because the drug testing was next to our dressing room at Chelsea, and there was a bit of commotion outside the dressing room door. So I opened the door to think, what the fucking hell's going on here? As I opened the door, Obi Mikel come bursting through, and then he started like swinging punches. I ducked, and he tried to pin us against the wall, and I went, fucking hell. I don't know if he was like, what had gone on, I didn't know. Maybe somebody had accused us at that point. But what was weird was, I remember like Steve Clark, I think it was not Steve, who was it? It was Eddie Newton, and who was the other guy? The coach, I can't remember now.
Holland?
No.
Steve Holland?
Eddie Newton was the second coach. I can't remember who the coach was now. And I remember like everybody just went like white, It was like, fucking hell, what's just happened there? Funniest thing was, putting a funny side to this, about 30 seconds later, there was a knock on my door, and I'm thinking, oh, not a fucking again. Obi Mikel's coming through the door. And I opened it, and it was one of the security guys. He went, Obi Mikel's left his flip-flop in the dressing room. Can he have it back? How are you taking a fucking piss?
Time to fucking shove it up his ass.
So I never thought nothing of it. And then we had a delegate. So the delegate was like an ex-player or an ex-coach. The Premier League employed them. So he came down, which was surprising. He didn't come down straight away, but that was another argument. He comes down, and I think Chelsea had spoken to him. And I think that moment of the assault, or an attempted assault, because he never laid a hand on us, but he swung a couple of times, was I don't know if they're trying to think, fuck, we're in trouble. Yeah, he's going to report. And all the match observer was talking about was what I was going to report. Nothing about racism, nothing. All was it about was what I was going to report, what happened in the dressing with Obi Mikel. And then it was like an hour later, I was accused of being a racist.
Right.
Are you just thinking, Obi Mikel's coming in here swinging at me?
Yeah, because I thought that, I know the game was volatile and there was a lot going on. I don't know if he was upset with the result and just lost it. Had he been drug tested, because players didn't like being drug tested. So maybe he couldn't go to the toilet. All these little things, upset people, you know what I mean? I thought he was just upset, and I've got in the line of attack
at this point,
by opening my door, and because he's burst in, swinging, I'm thinking to myself, what the fuck's happening? Because he shouldn't even get near the dressing room with the security. Because Chelsea have a lot of security, always had a lot of security. So where did the security go?
Big bugger and all.
But at this,
But they could have stopped him.
At this point,
I think it was Di Matteo was the coach, I think, at the time.
At this point, you've got Obi Mikel coming in your office, not knowing anything about what's going to transpire later on, and you've got a player swinging punches at you.
Yeah. But he got charged 3 matches about a month later after my investigation went on. But one of my arguments, I got told, the FA said that they felt, they want players to report racism. I'm a big backer of that. I think so it should be. I've been involved where a player is accused another player on the field of play, and I had to report it. Norwich Leeds. So you have to act in protocols. But what I didn't understand was like why Obi Mikel, who's made an assault against a match official, only got 3 matches, but you can go and commit a foul on the field of play and get the same punishment. I'm not saying you've got to support refereeing, but you've got to look at also the grassroots. These guys are refereeing junior football, senior football, and these guys are going through difficult. When I first started refereeing, I had to referee Sunday morning football. It wasn't about laws of the game, it was survival. Because they were pissed. Everybody was pissed from the night before, and you had to survive, and you're managing that, you came off, and if you could come off with as many people as happy as possible, that's what made you thinking, God, I probably haven't applied all the letter of the law, but if I'd applied the letter of the law, I probably would have had 7 vs 7.
I couldn't do that job.
I couldn't do it now.
The scrutiny. I mean, just going back to what you mentioned, Danny Simpson before. I always saw that as you could have a bit of crack, but it's all about how it's construed and how it can be twisted. You know, you could say something like that, tongue in cheek, but then take it out of context and you can spin whatever you want with it.
But everybody's got what I find now is the world has got such an opinion. Everybody's got an opinion. They don't want to listen to anybody else's opinion. And that's the way it's gone now. Like, even if you say, well, I've done this, you'll always get somebody twisting it. Either the way you've said it, the words you've said it, how you've said it, and they'll form their own opinion. It doesn't matter what you say. And like, I've said things in the past, like in the heat of the moment, and people will say, oh, you've just, I remember like, it was tongue in cheek, but it was like a payback time, and Fergie was always going on about added time, and I added 6 minutes against Man City, and they got beat 6-1, you know, and it was right. Fergie had a go at us because he was upset that his team had conceded 3 goals in the last 6 minutes of injury time, which he believes he wanted to get off, you know, and people think, well, you shouldn't do that. Well, hold on. I'm a human being, and B, I could add the time on anyways. I'm the sole keeper, and there was a bit of time on, but normally if the game's 4-1 or 5-1, one of the rules as refereeing was to finish the game. Because you didn't want players getting injured. You didn't want players getting sent off. Players didn't want to play. You know, how many times you would say, I used to get, and I'm not naming players, but they'd be getting beat 2 or 3-0, and they would come to you and say, Mark, fucking blow up. I'm not going to go to a fan and say, fucking Jimmy here has just told us that I should finish the match.
Yeah.
But I had a situation, and I got a letter from the Football League. And I remember the game was West Brom, and I can't remember who they were playing. And it was a televised game on a Saturday, like the 5:30 kickoff or whatever it was. And I remember, and the game was 4-0 to West Brom. And the ball, there was about 20 seconds left, and the ball went into the corner. Straight away, I'm thinking, fuck this. This ball goes in the corner. I know what's going to happen. Somebody's going to come fucking siding through, and then I've got a mass ball to deal with. So what am I doing? I'm thinking to myself, fucking 20 seconds. I'm going to finish it, because 20 seconds isn't going to influence any. You can't go up the one end or the other. And the only thing West Brom are going to do is they're not going for an attack to think where they're going to score a 5th goal. They're just going to time waste. So he ran it into the corner. And as he ran it in the corner, there was about 12 seconds left. Now, every player shook hands, because before he got into the corner, there was no issues. So the game finished. Everybody shook hands, walked off. I got a letter saying I finished the game 14 seconds early. What the world's like? Technically, yeah. But from a management point of view, they think I should go and deal with a leg break and deal with a mass brawl, and then people say, oh, you've lost control of the game. I'm using common sense, but we've lost that now. There's no common sense now in football. You don't want to play getting sent off. You don't want to play with a broken leg. You're trying to manage everything that goes on. And I remember that situation. I remember Gus Hiddink, for example, and this was a good wake-up call for me. I was a young referee, and Gus Hiddink was the Russian national team coach, and they were playing in Holland. And it was a really nice game to referee as a young referee, you know. Friendlies were always easy because players didn't want to play, and B, nobody wanted to get injured. So you never saw a bad tackle. And me being a young referee, I was trying to be politically correct. And it was 2-0, and I played 4 minutes injury time. And I gave a penalty to Holland, Netherlands, 3-0, correct penalty, not an issue. 4-0. And Gus Hiddink came to me on the pitch, and he went, Mark, he said, I really think you're a really, really good young top referee. Really good, he said. But I'm going to give you some advice. He said, why you play that injury time? He said, there's no need. He says, 2-0, he says, I go into the press conference, nobody bothered. Now I've got to go into the press conference at 4-0, and I've got to explain why we got beat 4-0. And I'm thinking to myself, fair point. Really fair point. It's a friendly. Nobody wants the injury time except me because I'm being politically correct. Not the players didn't want the injury time. The coaches didn't want the injury time. Nobody wanted the injury time except me because I was being politically correct.
Gentlemen, we have got a special message from Saley, which is the new eSIM app from our very good friends at NordVPN.
What have they got for us, Chrissy?
It's the new eSIM app. You get it on your phone. All you've got to do, go into the App Store, download the Saley app. You know when you go away? Roaming charges. We've all been stung with it.
You get that
Many
stupid
times.
aeroplane at the top.
Yeah, numerous times.
Searching.
You go into different networks. You go in on the internet. You can't get on the internet. Well, with the Saley app, you just go on, turn on your eSIM, you get internet wherever you are in the world.
Incredible.
No more add-ons.
No more add-ons.
Sick of the sight of add-ons.
I've been stung quite a few times with that, because I'm not very technical, but I don't need to be now, do I?
I think what you're forgetting to mention, it significantly reduces, if not completely removes, all Roman charges.
Well, you got stung, didn't you, when we went away and the hotel didn't have Wi-Fi? Watching all,
I needed to watch something,
watching all them videos.
But to be fair, not only is it obviously easy to work, the security, as everything with NordVPN, is impeccable.
So all you've got to do, if you want to get involved with a silly app, is go to the App Store, download the app, and use the code, get ready for this, Cosh, and get 15% off your first purchase. Or you can use the QR code on the screen, or the link is in the description.
Well done, Chris.
Happy roaming.
So in that 2016 season, you've done the FA Cup, you've done the Champions League final. Going into the Euros, are you one of the only Englishmen praying England don't do well?
I knew I had more than half a squeak because the feeling around the camp was quite strong that if England hadn't qualified, I had a big chance of the final.
When you say the camp, you mean the refereeing camp?
The refereeing camp, yeah. So the words coming out of Pierluigi Collina's mouth when we had meetings after the games was always positive. And I could always say, and he said something to us and it always sticks, and he says, "You're not on holiday," which means keep your head down.
You stop cracking jokes about it.
Yeah. So I remember going to the
all
pub.
about his daughter in his time. Whoa.
So I remember going out. I didn't drink, but went to the pub because I just wanted normal food. You know, I wanted to get out and just get away from the camp. When my group of referees, you know, like there was Anthony Taylor, Undr Marinakis, my two assistants, and we had a table in front of the screen. There wasn't many people in because I think the game was in Paris, and I didn't go to the game. I said UEFA, because UEFA was short on tickets. I said we'll watch it in the pub. But there was some UEFA referee committee members in the bar as well, which was good, you know. And then at the end of the game when England lost, they went congratulations. So I had a feeling what was happening behind, and the guys were getting excited. Everybody was getting excited in the camp, and I remember looking at flights and hotels for the missus. To think we've got a chance, but I always put them on a cancellation, 48-hour cancellation, in case I didn't get the game, so I get my money back. But I was booking stuff behind the scenes, and I thought, wow, I've got a great chance here. And the next day, we decided to go to the fan zone just to get a flavour of what the tournament was about. Because sometimes when you're in an environment, you're stuck in a hotel, you get a bit bored. So we went down to the fan zone, and we went to watch Belgium-Wales, and I've never felt so low after the Belgium-Wales game because I knew Wales could affect us. Mm-hmm. So if Wales got knocked out, which everybody thought Belgium would beat Wales. But the way Wales played that night was incredible. But it was shit. Wales could knock me out of refereeing the Euro final and then never have that chance again, you know. So I'm panicking, thinking, Jesus Christ, not that I'm booking the flight and the hotel. It was more, I've got the big chance. It's one off. You know, as a referee, you only get one chance. I remember speaking to Chris Coleman, who was the national team coach of Wales afterwards, and I was telling him the story, and he was like, "Freaking hell, you were against me as well, you know." And
like, we'll get a new suit, Mark.
Yeah. But I remember when Portugal scored that second goal, and it was an incredible feeling knowing that there was no way coming back for Wales at that point, and you know that the next day you're going to be announced to referee the final. Is like, wow. After Champions League final and then the Euro final, a kid from like nothing, come from a counter background that was bullied at school, thinking, and then you analyse yourself and you go, fuck off everybody, you know, everybody that's doubted us, everybody that's said some bad words about us. I've done something that people can never ever dream of, you know. Like, I wanted to be a professional footballer like you, but I wasn't good enough. But to walk out in a Champions League final or a Euro final or even the big games in the world, fucking hell, man, it was like every kid's dream.
Was there a come down from it all? You know, it's probably talking about levels here, but I remember when Tyson Fury got the world title, he felt like, I've done it now.
Yeah.
And he lost all of his motivation, he didn't have any goals. Was there anything like that with you? Because obviously you only get to do this once. Yeah. Are you thinking...
It's interesting that top sportsmen say that. I found it difficult to motivate myself after that. I didn't train very well. And I knew my standards were slipping. That's why I took the Saudi job. But also, I knew I couldn't referee the World Cup final. So I lost all my motivation. People said, well, of course you could referee the World Cup final. It was impossible. Impossible to referee the final because you're stupid, you know. There was no way I could referee the World Cup final. It doesn't matter if England hadn't qualified.
Why?
Because if I'd refereed the World Cup final, I would have been the most successful referee ever in the world. I would have refereed every final. It's never happened before. Even Pierluigi Collina, who refereed the World Cup final, didn't referee the Euro final.
What, they wouldn't allow it to happen?
It's just never happened. And it's
Because the rest of the refereeing fraternity don't want.
Somebody at the top.
all I'm saying is like, it's never happened, and there probably is a reason. They'll know, but it's never happened, and it was never going. I never felt that I would ever have a chance. So therefore, I've lost that motivation, knowing that I can't go and referee the World Cup final. So I'm thinking to myself, what's the next best thing for me is to protect my family financially. So the decision to go to Saudi was simple. I'm thinking, yeah, I'm leaving the best league in the world, but financially, I've set my family up for life.
If there was a rule that you could bring in to the modern game, what would you?
I've said it a few times, and I'll say it again. I'm not sure how it's going to be implemented. I don't really like the implementation about the goalkeeper 8 seconds, if I'm honest. 6 seconds. It never got really implemented. But what it was it got the ball in play a little bit quicker than normal. So if you didn't have a time, the goalkeeper would take 30, 40 seconds. It's never 8 seconds. It'll be 12, 13 seconds. I never thought that was an issue. Where I believe there's an issue, and one thing you can't solve is time wasting or absorbing time. A goalkeeper getting injured, and you know that they're not injured. You know what's going to happen when a team's under pressure. What's the simplest thing as a coach? What you're going to do to your player? You're going to tell your goalkeeper to go down injured. But one thing that really irritates me as a fan is the time it takes to take a corner and a goal kick and a throw in. And for me, the simplest way, it wasn't to give the referee the power. It was to have it in the rules that it gives the referee, like the 6 second rule, a bit of tolerance. That in the past, if a player takes a throw in and it's late in the game, what does the player do? He used to laugh, and I never used to fall for it. So a player used to walk up the touchline, knowing what's the referee do? Go back. The player's laughing, and he's in the back of it going, that worked. He goes up the line again. He'd probably take a yellow card because he knows he's only had probably 1 or 2 in that period of time. So he's not on the 5 yellows to miss a match. He then gets a yellow card. By the time the referee lobs his book out, gets his pen out, puts your number in, puts it back away, 45 seconds have gone. It never gets added on. So for me, the easiest situation is if a player, you know what he's doing, he's going up the touchline, he doesn't take it from the right position. I don't want a yellow card for that.
Send him off.
No, just give it the opposite way. Just if you don't take it, give the possession back to the other team.
Yeah.
They'll soon get the ball in if you threaten to reverse the decision. The only way a referee could have that power years ago, well, you still can do it, you let the player walk up the pitch. And I used to stand there, and I used to know he was time wasting. And when he threw it in, I would say, you've gone from the wrong position, opposite way. And the player would then say to me, you can't do that. I say, I can in law. You've took it from the wrong position. See, you understand? They knew the message. And it was the same with corners and goal kicks. You see them trotting over for a corner. If you take too long, corner coming in, no, it's not coming in. They're walking over, give a goal kick. Same with the goal kick. If a keeper takes too long, you give a corner. You never see it happen, but at least you know the game's getting moved on a little bit quicker because we need more minutes for the entertainment.
There are loads we've got to ask because we'll get shot, but about the Battle of Goodison.
Yeah. Another bad day at the office.
Do you look back and think, I wasn't the best then?
I didn't know at the time. Games. I didn't know because it was weird because I'd just refereed Man City 2 weeks before, Man City, Man U. Then I refereed, I think it was Tottenham Arsenal. And then third week running, I was refereeing another derby. And I'd never refereed the derby before. And I was ill prepared. Manchester derby's different, completely different. There wasn't that ferocity, that hatred. Same with Tottenham Arsenal. A lot of, there's rivalry in the fans, but the players seem to know each other, that respect. With Liverpool, Everton, it wasn't. It was like proper fierce. And did I get everything right? No. Did I get blamed for things that I had done? Probably like the Steven Gerrard. People think I put my card away. I hadn't, but they're looking to hit you. Should I have sent off Dirk out now watching it? Yes. But I was influenced by a person who was closer, an assistant referee who was closer. He thought it was a yellow card, and I took his judgment. Should have took my own judgment and give a red card. But the last minute, if I'd seen it and give it to finish the game 2-2, or potentially 2-2, I probably would have got away with as much criticism as I did. But because I didn't give the penalty for Lescott's challenge, Carragher's challenge on Lescott, I just don't see it. And the player runs across us. Because I didn't give it, Everton lost 2-1. They had 2 players sent off. Everything went Liverpool's way that day at Goodison. And that's what created the huge hatred. I didn't referee Everton for quite a while. That was not my decision. That was the Peach and Wells decision that they felt that I couldn't referee Everton for so long. But then it was amazing. I went back after 6-7 years. I remember the first time I went back, Aston Villa, Everton, the fucking hatred. You know, me diagonal system at Aston Villa Park was class that day. I was on that side because everyone was on that side. And it was just hard because mentally, in the back of your head, you know the hatred towards you, and you know that everything that I do in that game was going to receive a lot of hatred. But I got through it. And then after that, I went back to Goodison, still got a lot of abuse. Name got mentioned on the loud tonneau, the fucking boos. But then I refereed some incredible games after that, you know. And I remember when they beat Man City 4-0, beat Man United 2-0. You know, a lot of situations where they won. Some great games at Goodison, but unfortunately, nobody remembers them good games. They always remember that one game, you know. And that's quite rightly so. It's a derby, you know.
Is that right, Bellamy grabbed you Mickey in the tunnel?
No, that was another game, that. No, that was so I was refereeing Bolton City.
That could
Bolton
be
Man
construed
City.
as a...
No, that was after. It was the next game. So I refereed Bolton and I cautioned him for dissent. I could have sent him up, but I cautioned him for dissent. And I remember speaking to a club official and I said, how do you put it with him week in, week out? And they fucking put it in the media the next day. Crazy, man, what happens in football. But somebody decided to leak it. And I was like, fucking Betty, you know what I mean? Like, I was only asking, like, fuck, how do you put it with him? Because he's a handful, you know? And then I sent him off for a dive. And when I watched it back, it was probably a bit harsh. But it wasn't a
psychology thing again.
Yeah,
it was a bit harsh, and he never forgave us, and I never forgave it. Me and him just didn't get on, you know. And next time I was refereeing, I went to Man City, and he was in the tunnel, and he said something to us, and he was standing next to us, and he said something like "fucking wanker" or something, and just grabbed me balls. I just tell the funny side. You know, to be fair, he's right. You know what I mean? Well, there's no point being arsey. He was right. You know what I mean? I probably shouldn't have sent him off, but you know, what happens. You know, it's like he dealt with it. I dealt with it, and we moved on. You know.
We've had Jeff Winter on.
Yeah, I've seen that. Yeah.
And do you agree with his view on Graham Paul?
Yeah.
Do you know this?
Yep.
There's loads of stories, but keep them there. Jeff was never squeaky clean either. There's always stories, you know what I mean? It's like, one thing I remember when I was in that group, when I first got on the Premier League in 2004, it was such a laugh. A great laugh. So fun. You know, we worked together as a group. You know, you knew Graham Paul was always going to referee the big games. But it was brilliant. You know, everybody, it was just a laugh.
Camaraderie.
And then it changed, We'd have a beer together, or there would be little beer groups. But we had fun. And it changed over the years, you know. And then when that old group left, the younger generation were different, you know. It was like they were athletes, they were like 2% body fat. We had 50% body fat. You know?
It's a bit like footballers though, going through the way, innit?
Yeah.
You know, like...
It's just different. And you know what? Yeah, I lived in that era, and I lived in both eras. And, you know, but I did... You know, Jeff, they were such big characters, and I was a young ref. And I was refereeing some big games in my first year, and they probably were like, fucking hell, who's this little whippersnapper, you know? But no, I remember a little story, man, because I used to be big mates with Phil Dow. I used to always room with Phil. And Keith Hackett was my boss for Mike Riley. And Keith said, we're doing a weigh-in end of season. Wow, was it me? I was fucking massive when I was on the Premier League. I was like 90 odd kilo. I was fat, a right little fatty. And for a ref, it was stupid, you know. They wanted like an athlete. And me and Phil were like, Phil was a big size as well, you know. But Phil was a character. Great laugh with him. And Keith says, we want you to be measured after your lunch, which was a stupid time to be weighed in, you know what I mean? But I think, he was going to fine you if you came back heavy. So I think he was trying to help you out, get a big feed in, weigh in as heavy as you can. So me and Phil people were running up the stairs, getting the weight in, and then down. Me and Phil were strolling up the stairs with a big bowl of fucking chips. And we're eating the chips till we get weighed in heavy. We were the only ones that didn't get fined. Yeah, we're the only ones that didn't get fined. Because we couldn't get any bigger, you know what I mean? Yeah, came back later and Keith's like, oh, you have worked hard this morning. Did we, folk? Yeah.
Classic.
So
But that was a laugh. That wouldn't happen now. That wouldn't happen now.
Going back all the way, so the whole football career that you had, the refereeing career that you had, would you rather be looking back, a championship footballer for 12 years, or the referee that you end up becoming and playing, refereeing in Euros and finals?
Tough one now. Because I think playing would have if I was a good championship player, you know, it's a complete different. You're with 11 people. You've got a family. A footballing family around you. You've got your teammates. You get together every day. You've got a purpose to go to training. You've got a purpose to go to the games. Refereeing's a very soul searching life. You meet up every 2 weeks for a day and a half. You never see anybody else. You go to the games. Your 2 assistants, your 4th. You do the game. You leave. So you're not really, got anybody around you. But what I probably did in my career, the games I did, I probably never had that enjoyment as a championship player to referee. Some, like, the Champions League nights were special. You know, it doesn't matter what teams I did. That music, it was incredible. Like, you stand there going, fuck me, am I refereeing the Champions League match? You know, forget the final. These matches were like mental, you know, like the money, the stake, and everything around it. You know, the kit, you know, your Champions League kit. Them moments, them Champions League, that was what I probably missed most when I finished the Champions League. And but like, going back to your question, probably them nights, Champions League, for big nights.
Won't change it.
But still with the refereeing route. And
yeah, no, but like, even like, I remember, when did you finish with Blackburn? I remember doing a game, Blackburn against Wigan. Yeah, you wouldn't have played that.
No.
The Venkies win. And it was a Monday night game, Sky game. And they were protesting the Blackburn. Blackburn was a great club. Always a great club. And from the doctor, I used to come in and say if you needed anything. The people, they were like really, really the soul of the world, like the earth. They always put beer in your fridge. Like, you know, if I, like, just like,
That's a win.
No, but they were like such an amazing, amazing club. And I remember going there, it was a Monday night, and they were playing Wigan. And there was a big protest about the Venkies. And one of my assistant, Paul Robinson, was the keeper for Blackburn. And assistant referee, the ball was at the other end. And assistant referee next to doing Paul Robinson, who was standing on his fucking own, shouting, stop the game, stop the game. I'm like, stop the fucking game. What are you on about? Fucking, there's nothing wrong. There's no free kick. Play on. Stop the game. There's a chicken on the pitch. I went, fuck off, man. Stop being fucking stupid. The Premier League game, you know.
When you were playing with it.
So I turned round and there's Paul Robbo running around his fucking penalty area trying to catch this chicken that was dressed in a Blackburn kit. He was in a Blackburn kit live on Sky. Paul Robinson was chasing a fucking chicken around the pitch.
Did you ever see Tunnel Scrap?
Yeah, that was it was Birmingham Villa. Fucking hell, it proper rocked. It was just like a lot of animosity after the game, and them games were like quite unique. Birmingham Villa. Oh, I did Villa Birmingham as well. They were fierce.
What was the era? I'm trying to think of who will have been involved.
Where Ashley Young was playing, it would have been Robbie Savage was playing with Birmingham. There was some proper...
It weren't the throwing one, were it? Where he's thrown it in and it's gone under his foot.
Oh, no, that was David Ellery there. Tried to hide behind the fact that he got a little stud on it. The ball never changed direction. Instead of saying that I've made a mistake, he was like, yeah, he touched it. And no, he didn't. Because if he hadn't touched it, it's not allowed, is it?
Right,
but he said the goalkeeper touched it to me. Wait, he saw that from the halfway line, no chance. But no, I remember them games. I remember refereeing it once at Villa, and I nearly got charged by the FA. It was a bit stupid of his, but Villa were on the attack. It was Neftski that was playing for Birmingham, and Ashley Young clashed in the middle of the pitch. I think Ashley Young had played the ball off to the wing, and they've got a good attack going, Villa. So me not wanting to stop it, fucking these two were clashing in the middle of the pitch, and they started shoving and pushing each other. So that pushes Neftchi out the way, the midfielder for Birmingham, and puts fucking Ashley Young I puts him in a headlock to release them so they could fucking run away from each other. Ashley Young fucking runs off. Doesn't the fucking ball get squared and fucking Ashley Young scores? You know what I'm saying? Fucking, I played a great advantage. Saying I shouldn't have touched the player, do you know what I mean? But me
That might
managing
got you the Gladiators roll up.
but nobody really commented because everybody thought was saying a great goal it was, but said I shouldn't have handled the play in that way. You know, I'm like, fucking hell, I've stopped a mass brawl here, you know what I mean? Get in, put in there, don't play on. On one hand, play on. No, but no, it's like there's so many good memories, and that's what I loved about the game. There was so many great times and great memories, and you know, every day you think to yourself, you know, why would you want to be a referee? But every day I used to pinch myself thinking, am I really doing something I did enjoy? You know, I did enjoy it. And I pinched myself thinking, God, I'm actually doing it, you know. And you got days where you thought, because people used to say to me, why did you get tattoos and that? And I used to think, like, you know, A, I haven't broke a law. B, if I want tattoos, I can have tattoos. You don't tell me what to do. I don't tell you what to do, you know. You've got your own life. I didn't break a law. And it was mainly just like, you know, when you get them moments in your life and you think, shit, fucking, you're really down days, because refereeing was up and down. And I used to look and think, fuck me, I really did the Olympic final. And it gives you them positive moments in your life, and you think, wow, you know, I did the 2012 Olympic final in Wembley, and you think, wow, I've done all right. You know, people might say I was a shit ref, but I wouldn't have been that bad if I've refereed them finals.
If you could ref one again.
I've got Warwick Davis tattoo because Willow's my favourite film. So I think you said.
I thought you were going to see your girlfriend in the fucking tag.
His girlfriend's as well.
If you could referee one again, FA Cup, Champions League, Euro 16, Euro final, or the Olympics, what would you go with?
It's a tough one. I don't want to do the Champions League final again. That stress was incredible. The Atletico Madrid derby is tough. It was tough from the day one. Tough from the first minute, and you're just trying to come off as least criticism. Yeah, fucking man. I remember going out, and the players were like arguing in the tunnel before we even went out because they all wanted to get out. And I think it was Shakira was singing, not Shakira. Was it? No, it was one of the singers. I can't remember who was singing now. And she was late coming off a piece, which meant the kickoff was getting. Players were wanting to get out, you know, and they were getting a bit irate in the tunnel, and. Ramos said to us, fucking tell her to hurry up. And I went, you want me to fucking go around there and tell her to get off the stage? Are you fucking stupid? And I remember the first thing I went, and it broke the ice a bit because there was a lot of nerves by the players and myself, you know, and you're not trying to show them that you're nervous because you're trying to keep them calm as well. And as we walked out, I'm fucking shitting myself. And all I could think of, there was a ball on the plinth. And I went to pick that ball up, and I'm thinking, don't fucking drop it, you Wally. And I picks the ball up and puts it on my arm. I'm thinking, thank fuck I didn't drop it. You know, that's what was going on in my head, you know, bizarre things. Because the night before, you're like having weird dreams. You were late for the kickoff. I didn't make the kickoff. I don't know how you felt before games, but I would like dream bizarre things. Like my flight got delayed, which means I didn't get to the kickoff 10 minutes after, and like stupid things. And then, like, I remember dreaming that I was going to drop the ball. I'm like, how stupid dreams I used to have.
What about needing the toilet? I think if I was a ref, that would play on my mind. Need to drop a batch during the game or something.
No, never that.
Because Jeff had to do a pre-season game or something.
No, I never worried about that because, like, you were so dehydrated anyways, you couldn't even go to the toilet afterwards.
But you know that final? Because obviously the first 20 minutes they're kicking the shit out of each other. I can't remember watching it, but I'm assuming.
It was, aye.
Have you got a thingy of how you're going to ref the game before it's even kicked off? Like,
you don't prejudge because everybody goes, if you prejudge, you can't do it. But you've got like a game plan, and people say you shouldn't have game plan. It's not a game plan to say I'm going to punish this and I'm going to. What you're trying to do is you're trying to come through phases of the game. And I remember the first 15, 20 minutes of that final thinking, fucking, I hope this calms down. It's got to calm down. And I'm not looking for a yellow card, but I need something to present itself. You know, you're looking for a stonewall yellow card to bring the players back down to think this is the level. And I wasn't finding anything. There was nothing, but there was niggly fouls. There was little moments where you're not going to go in a Champions League final and start laying the law down. You're trying to feel your way through. And I remember it was the fullback for Real Madrid got cautioned. And he was the first caution. And it was a standout caution. I'm thinking, God, that's a bit of relief. Now I've set my marker. And there was different phases of the game. I remember the potential offside goal, then the penalty. And there was just certain things like was triggering in the game. Then Atletico missed the penalty to make it 1-1. And then Carrasco made it 1-1. And then I went to penalties, and I can't even remember any of the extra time. I was on zero, energy levels of zero. And I was like shouting to the boys, just help us through this, because I didn't even know what day it was. And that's when they were saying, what did I do to Pepe? When I was just sticking my tongue out going, I don't even know I did it. And it wasn't a disrespect him or anything. I must have been just so thirsty and trying to get a drink in or whatever. But somebody was saying it, I was calling him a pussy, do you know what I mean? But because he was play acting. But it was an iconic moment, but I hadn't done it deliberately. I was just like, I don't even know what fucking day it was. Yeah.
Just thirsty. Quick pause in play, gentlemen, to bring a special message from our bestest of friends, O'Neill's.
Love the hat, by the way.
Thank you.
And by the way, you know the kits I've seen that are over here in Ireland?
They're all quality.
They're all like beautiful, like really nice kits.
Yeah.
But none better than the big dog.
Oh, yes.
That's the fella, innit?
Like we've said many times, if you've got your own team, grassroots, looking to sort yourself out with a kit, get in touch with O'Neill's.
4 to 6 weeks from design to delivery.
And it's not. And when we say design, you can design it yourself. Just the little details, everything. It's not like you're just turning out in a red shirt, black shirt, white stripes or whatever. You can put the finer detail on as well, can't you? The quality is unbelievable.
Like a work of art.
Do you know what's good as well? That they're produced mainly in Ireland and Northern Ireland in the factories, so it's locally produced as well. It's not
quicker for delivery.
Quicker for delivery, but the quality as well.
I'm not just saying it, it's good.
Yeah, it is good. We've been in the O'Neill shop today, and some of the stuff, well, most of the stuff, all of the stuff, it's incredible.
As well, there's a link in the description if you want to get yourself involved with your own team. We can't recommend getting your shirts from anywhere else.
My team O'Neill's. Won well, man. Been absolutely buzzing all season.
If you look good, you play good. Everybody.
Exactly. So the link's in the description. Get your order in for your team, and also if you want to get yourself an Undr The Cosh, absolutely stunning. Both, all 4 of them that are available.
Check them out.
Do you ever use that stopwatching on Gladiators?
No. Somebody said I used it once because it was on the camera and I got down the earpiece. Mark, stop your stopwatch, it's working. But no, I think it's all for the effect because John Anderson had it, didn't he?
Yeah.
Legendary, what a guy. And it was interesting because when I took, when you leave refereeing and you don't know what you're going to do next, I suppose like an ex-player, you think, what am I going to do next? And then I got a phone call and said, would like to interview you for Gladiators. I'm thinking to myself, fucking Gladiators, God, mate.
I'll be fucking brilliant with that pugil stick.
But it wasn't just
that role.
But it wasn't just about me. And it was something like, I remember like how my daughter felt when she knows you're going to be. For her, it's cool. Our friends watch it, so it's like a cool thing that her dad is like the Gladiators ref. So yeah, I did it mostly for them, and I'm thinking, wow, how cool it is, But I remember filming it for the first time. I'm thinking, friggin' hell, I don't know what to do, because it's like, it's new to you, You're used to refereeing.
Yeah.
You know what to do. Now this was like completely out of my comfort zone. And it's just, now it's now we're into doing a 3rd series in the next couple of weeks. We're going to start filming it. It's like part and parcel now, you know the Gladiators, they know you. And a lot of it's entertainment. I think the Gladiators, when they first came into the show, they thought, oh, it's about winning. Of course, everybody wants to win, but it's an entertainment. And football's the same. Football's an entertainment business, and players wouldn't receive the big money they did if people weren't watching it. So people have got to entertain. I remember one of my best friends was at a Sunderland match with his son, and next to him was a father and a son, and they were leaving with 10 minutes left. Sunderland were winning 1-0. My friend says, why are you leaving? He says, I've got to leave. He says, I've got to get back for Gladiators. And suddenly we're winning 1-0 with 10 minutes left. That was amazing that people really loved it. And it makes me happy that, probably now people see me in a different world where they saw us as a referee. Yeah, I still got that bit of hatred. But I've got a younger generation think, oh, he's actually, he's okay. He's got a bit of a character, you know. They see you in a different light because when you're in a black suit as a referee, they think you're like the baddie. But I'm not really the baddie. I'm just, you know, trying to do the best
by
I
the
can.
rules, aren't you?
Yeah, that's the rule. Out.
We had a question. I'm assuming it's the dad that said it, but a question from Harrison6. He said, "Which gladiator would you beat in an event, and which event?"
I like Legend. I just think.
But we're asking, can you take him?
No, because I thought he's one of these, right? He's a complete all-rounder, and you think he's got to have a weakness somewhere. I don't think he can run very fast, so probably I would do him on Unleash.
Yes.
If I stretched, because I was quite quick as a ref, and I think if I got a bit of a lead, I think because he's not quick, he's quite strong.
I'll be honest with you, I'm not watching
hang
your
tough
one.
in the wall. He'll beat us easily. But I think in a race,
Let's get it.
I think I would beat him. But he would cheat because he wouldn't let us win because he's that type of character. He'd fucking run across the course, cheat, and rugby tackle us.
How have you found the ballers? Because none of us have watched it that way. We just saw you and John Terry going at it.
Yeah, but that's been going on for years, hasn't it? Listen, I like it. It's different. It's street football. I think there's a market for it, huge market for it. I think the way it had been in Germany, and they brought it to the UK with the influencers, with these social media people that have millions of followers. It brings a different market. It's bringing a younger market. And I don't know, I haven't really looked at statistics, but feedback I'm getting is that the younger generation's switching off from the Premier League and the professional football. And I think the football have to be really careful, not now, but you're always looking to the future. And if you're missing this younger market, they're not going to change their habits. They're not going to go, if they're not watching and engaging at 20, 25 years old, they're not going to follow a team. Therefore, the Premier League, when the older generation move on, there's not going to be that market anymore. And the Premier League have built such a model for years. The model is keep going up and up and up. Eventually, it's going to crash, and they need to make sure that they don't crash to this younger market where the Ballers League is wham, bam, thank you, ma'am. Fighting 2 minutes. All of a sudden, a player gets sent off 2 minutes. They have game changes, which is exciting. And they have the excitement. We're watching other sports. And every sport now is looking into making the game as fast as possible. You know, we've seen it with golf recently. Even if we don't agree with it, they try in different ways to engage the younger market because, unfortunately, the younger market switch off so quickly.
Attention spans are so.
And if we're not careful and we don't do something with football, we'll lose that market, and that market's going to be huge going forward. Yes, the Premier League is the big one, but if fans aren't watching Championship matches or Scottish matches and they're watching the Ballers League instead, then there's something wrong with the demographic of what we're doing going forward, and they've got to make sure that they engage with them fans.
Do you think the reason for that younger age drop-off as a fan and as a referee could be, you know, you spoke a lot about the black and white and, you know, VAR, everything's got to be on the nose, like the soul's gone out the game a little bit.
Yeah, I don't know. Listen, we can look back at pathways, like when you were probably in your day, when you played, you had probably a youth team, you came through and you had a chance. I'm not sure that's happening anymore. I think young players, young people now don't feel they've got a chance in the modern game. And I think if they feel they've got a chance, they get released. You know, there's so many young people getting released now and they're going foreign. Most players coming into the Premier League are foreign. And the young players aren't getting chances. So the younger mid-generation, I think, if they're not getting chances, and they're not also the professional footballer now, because of the way the clubs manage them, they're not really engaging on the social media. They're not getting, they're showing the lifestyles, but they're not really engaging in that market, that younger market, when they're doing interviews, they're told what to say, which means they don't come across like the younger generation want. And they want to engage in that. They want to hear players. You know, I remember it was a Cody, what do you call the Everton?
Conor Cody.
When he spoke, it was incredible to listen. It was like a different person speaking, that he actually came across like a breath of fresh air. Like he spoke like a fan as a professional footballer and as a person. And we've got to be careful that we don't, because the way everybody is driven, the media, and they're frightened to say anything.
That's someone for them kids to idolise.
Gotta
Like your
be.
Jordan Pickfords.
But I'm not sure that
round the
happens
corner.
now. I'm not sure them young people, they prefer Mini Minster, the Beast. They're watching people like Angry Ginge, playing FIFA. They're not watching a Premier League game, they're watching a person playing FIFA because they're obsessed. And
We don't get it, do we?
But no, we don't get it, but we've got to be careful because we don't get it.
Yeah.
We don't miss that opportunity because we're in this world now where the world's changing all the time. And if we miss this younger generation, you're going to lose them forever. Because we were always, as a child, we either wanted a player or we supported a team. And we supported that team and we followed that team. I went to watch Newcastle from 7 years old and I followed them for the rest of my life. If we don't engage, and you ask a player, I went to the Ballers League, who do you support? I don't support anybody. They haven't got a team anymore. They haven't got an identity. So you're losing all of these fans. Yeah, they love the football, but they haven't got a team to follow.
Are you enjoying life away from the scrutiny now? I know you've talked about Gladiators, the
Yeah, I love it
Ballers,
now,
and
yeah.
your podcasts now, Whistleblowers.
You know what? Because you don't have a speaking part as a ref. Weren't allowed to speak in that. And people said to me, "Why do you work for Nottingham Forest?" One of my biggest things that I never understand in life. I was a referee, but I'm always going to be labelled as a ref. Why can I not go and work for a club? Not just pass on my experience of refereeing, but also pass on my experience. Like, for example, the owner of Nottingham Forest is Greek. I spent fucking 4 years in Greece. I know Greek mentality. I know how he works. I know how the English football works. So it's a mixture that I'm working behind the scenes, working for him, but everybody labelled me being a referee consultant. I don't even think I fucking talk refereeing.
So what was the role then? What did
It was more just for him. It was advising the board because, for example, there was things he would, because he was a passionate guy, he wants his football club to do well. He was probably going to make decisions that could have had an adverse effect on himself and the football club. And I'm thinking, I really want to do that? Because for me, that's not an English thing.
Yeah.
You know, like there's some things that he does that nobody accepts. Like going on the football field, that's normal for him. Going in Greece and in, but we frown upon it because it's not what we're used to. It's outside of the zone of what we expect. You know the tweet that he put on about Everton and other stuff. That's up to, he's the owner of the football club. He can make decisions that where if he gets penalised for it and he gets a financial penalty, which he did, he's got to pay for it. But I can only say, well, I don't think you should do that. I'm not sure that's a good move because that's not what English expects. And
he can only tell you to
listen,
fuck
but in the
off,
heat of the
can't
battle,
he? And do it anyway.
But in the heat of the battle, there's some things you can't stop.
Yeah.
You know, when they thought they were, it wasn't the brightest appointment. You know, I've appointed referees in countries, and what you don't do is create before massive games that are important. You know, we're not just talking about the top, we're talking about the bottom of the Premier League now is so big and teams needed to stay in. And Forest felt that they were getting on the wrong end of some decisions, which if you analysed it, they were. You know, the KMI reports that the PGMOL and the Premier League, the independent board of the Premier League come out, which is an ex-player, ex-referee, ex-coach, put together every week. It wasn't just our opinion, it was their opinion as well. So Nottingham Forest were on the wrong end of some bad decisions. And Stuart Atwell was renowned as a Luton Town fan. Luton Town were fighting Everton and Forest to stay up. It was just a stupid appointment to make. Probably one that was an oversight by Howard Webb, who was the head of refereeing, didn't see it in time, which means by the time it was advertised and publicised, you're not really going to take him off the game, because it's a weakness. But it was an appointment that shouldn't have been made. Then Nottingham Forest wouldn't have had an argument. But I wouldn't have done that because I would have thought, you know what, you can choose anybody else, not let Nottingham Forest, before the appointments are done, to have an argument. You're managing a situation, and it was a situation that was always going to be a loser because if Stuart gave Forest a penalty that wasn't, they would say you only did that, because you want Everton or whatever it was. But because there was 3 penalties in the game, 2 were nailed on, 1 we can discuss, that weren't given, then they felt that was a bad move where, it felt then it was Luton.
Just gives an excuse to...
You don't want them excuses when you had, when I've appointed referees, and when I was a referee, I didn't referee Sunderland. I didn't referee teams when Newcastle, for example, were fighting in the Champions League, or if they win the relegation, you wouldn't want to referee them games around you because you don't want to be accused of anything. And not mentally or subconsciously thinking about it, but why to create that
It's
media
not worth the
storm?
hassle, is
No,
it?
no,
When
no.
you can avoid it.
Yeah, of course so. It was a decision that shouldn't have been done. But I'm trying to say to him, is that the right thing to do? But there's some things he'd gone that far. The tweet about what he did was out my hands. But then, you know, I'm allowed to work. I really enjoyed working for Nottingham Forest. They're a great club. And I was passing on my expertise to him, and he's got other clubs, Olympiacos, for example. And, you know, I saw them win a Conference League. You know, they won the Conference League final last year. And incredible what he's done. And, you know, it was nice to be a part of it for a short period of time. But again, certain individuals were using their media to push it, to get us out. And, you know, it was better me being out of the club, where I think every week I was at the club watching the game in the stand and my camera was on me. I wasn't on the game. And I'm like, why? You know, I was a referee 7 years ago. Why can I not work for a football club?
Yeah. Thing is, it's one of them, because come Monday, if you're recording, there's a bad refereeing decision, people are going to ask you about it, so you're going to end up speaking about it, and then you're better off just fucking shaking it off altogether and don't even speak about
Be
it.
on the other side now, can't
Like
you?
the-
A lot of shit he was. Don't know what he's doing.
But you see what I think what refereeing's sometimes a bit shitty was they get very protective and they shouldn't, because even when I was a referee and other referees used to say about me, Howard Webb used to talk. He was working for BT. And Howard Webb would never criticise the person. He's just talking about the decision, what could be better, or seeing it from a referee's angle and trying to support the referee's angle. But for some reason, refereeing now, the younger generation think you're criticising them. You're not. You're just talking about the decision.
He's not really in a position, is he, Howard? Did he not get 3 yellow cards to
No,
one
that was
person
Graham.
in the final?
That was Graham Paul.
Howard Paul?
Yeah,
Oh,
Howard didn't send off De Jong in the World Cup final for that fucking
Karate kick.
Yeah, I don't understand that changed refereeing that, because when we used to referee finals and pre-season friendlies, we always used to be like, not under guidance, but you didn't want to spoil the occasion. You didn't want to friendlies. You didn't want to, because everybody wanted to play 11v11 on a friendly, because it's competitive. You want to get that competitive into your game. But then when Howard got criticised for his performance in the World Cup final because they started wanting perfection, you know, they wanted him sent off in the final. Every referee went, no problems then. If it's in a final, you get sent off. You know, you don't give any benefit. You referee to not to the laws, but you've got some tolerance. But if it's black and white and bang, you do it. And I think it was a big learning point, because even in friendlies, if a leg breaker went in, you sent them off. It's not my problem. You know, and I think we started protecting ourselves because we didn't want to be criticised for refereeing finals. And that was in the finals. I got probably a little bit criticised because, you know, in people criticised, like, for example, there was an offside goal for Real Madrid. The players are telling you at half-time there was a potential Real Madrid's goals in an possibly an offside position. So you're then in another mindset, you're thinking, well, hold on, one team feel wronged. So now as a referee, you're now managing the game, you know what I mean? And then I had a potential penalty where Torres is clever. He gets in front of Pepe by putting his leg in front. Pepe does make contact. But is it a stonewall penalty? No, it's a questionable penalty. It's a one where one team's going to complain, the other one's going to complain. It's one of them you can't win as a ref. Sometimes it's best to wave them away. But you knowing that Real Madrid have had a potential offside goal, you then give the penalty. It then makes a situation where nobody can really complain because Atletico have got a penalty, Real Madrid have had an offside goal. So you're making a situation where if I don't give the penalty, Atletico would say we've been wrong twice. And it's hard as a ref because nothing's black and white. There's still that grey area where you think, is it not? And it's a really fine balance. And as a ref, you never win.
Who's the best modern day, in your opinion?
They've got 2 in England, haven't we? The top 2 is Oliver and Taylor, but both different. You know, probably Taylor's style is more directed to international football, where Mikel's style is he was more engaging, but I think he's slightly changed over the years. I don't know if anybody's changed his management style or whatever, but I felt he was quite approachable, but he's less approachable now, and I don't know if he's maturing or he's getting upset or he's not getting the support. He just seems to have changed, and I felt he was going to be probably the best referee out there because of his style and the way players respected him.
The thing is, he might have changed because the players have changed. Do you know one of them? They might speak to him differently.
Yeah,
and,
possibly. Possibly the younger people. I know the younger players don't speak. You know what I mean? I remember like how players used to speak to you. You know, in the end, I remember one place, I can't remember who it was, and he said to me, he said, "You can't speak to me later." You know, and I'm thinking, whoa. You know what I mean? It was an unusual thing for a young player to say that. It was, don't speak to us, no problems. Don't come crying when you get your leg broken or in a bad challenge, you know what I mean? Because I'm there to protect you, but don't abuse us as well, you know? And if I've said something, I've said it in the right way that I would normally address every player, you know? I treat Cristiano Ronaldo the same as Messi as I treat a Northern League player. I spoke to them exactly the same. And that's why I think them type of players liked us, because I spoke to them the same level. They could relate to me that, yes, they're superstars, but I never treat them as superstars.
What's the most big time comment that somebody said to you?
He always got the big time Charlie, you're arrogant. I just signed in Saudi, and the following week I was refereeing West Brom against Bournemouth, and the whole fucking Bournemouth end was singing "You've sold your arse to the Arabs."
That's a big one.
But it was funny because I remember it was Tony Pulis was the manager of West Brom, and I'd made 3 big decisions in the game. And when I watched them back, I went, fuck me, they were decent. Like, fucking, I got them all right, you know. And I remember giving an offside. The assistant didn't give an offside, and I give an offside. And Darren Fletcher was going mental. So he runs over the technical area. He comes back and he went, fuck me, he says, you got that one right? I looked at him, I went, that's why I'm going to Saudi, fucking. So we're laughing and joking, and then Pulis was upset after the game. Fucking, the fans were, please, you fucking off, because our dressing room backs onto that main road, and as the fans were leaving, fucking Clattenburg, you fucking shit, thank fuck you're going to Saudi, fuck off. And then Match of the Day showed the decisions, and everyone was right. The Match of the Day pundits were all like singing me praises, probably because I'm fucking off anyways, but because I'd already announced I was going, and they were saying it'd be a big miss, blah, blah, blah. Next week I went to West Brom. 4th official, Tony Pulis stops, so he goes, Mark, you said you got all them right. I went, you didn't think that fucking last week. and then Mike Riley says, where do you want to go for your last game? And I said, I would like to go to like somewhere in London so I could take the family, finish it off, do you know what I mean? Because we're never going to give us the last weeks of the season. And I was always going to be professional when I was leaving. I said, I'll stay at the end of the season and then I'll leave. And they said, where do you want to go? And I said, I would love to go to Tottenham. I always had special memories of White Hart Lane. I knew it was getting redeveloped, so I thought, it would be nice to finish it at Tottenham. I ended up at fucking West Brom. 3 weeks in a row. And I think that was just them to tell you to...
Go and get your money and fuck off.
Because I'm leaving anyways. So I ended up at West Brom. Yeah.
Oh, brilliant,
Yeah, top man, brilliant. Thank you very much for that.
Really appreciate your time.
Well, I can adapt. I've got 14 personalities. Like, hey, they're all fighting to get out. Stay inside. I don't like that behaviour. David, you're not joining club. You know, you're not going in now. They'll ruin you. Vieira stamping on me, fights. I mean, I squared up to Thierry Henry. I was playing centre forward that night. Scored hat-trick against Man United. Rooney, Ronaldo. Bosh. I'm there on the M1 service stations, 1 in the morning with my dogs. With the 2 dogs. You little King Charles Spaniels. Pascal Sagan, Kolo Touré, best fight I've ever seen on the training ground. Like, every day was a fight. Well, I got booed on my debut for England, didn't I? He's still trying to find his black and white cat. Room 222, cheeseburger. He's all steering, you know, and he's like, oh, my gear in that ring. It's all about me. Main character syndrome, thank you.